Hi everyone, my name is Augustine Simon, Bachelor of Physiotherapy, 4th year Maron University, and today I'm going to talk about measures of dispersion. Dispersion is the context of statistics which refers to the extent to which the numerical data are distributed or spread about an average value. This helps to understand the distribution of the data and shows how much homogeneous or heterogeneous the data is. In the other word, it shows how squeezed or how scattered the data is. Now, the measures of dispersion can be the absolute measures or relative measures. Now, the dispersion measures are used to describe the spread of the data and the extent of variability within the dataset. In case of absolute measures, we have range, quartile deviation, mean deviation, and standard deviation. But in the relative measures, we have coefficient of range, coefficient of variation, coefficient of mean deviation, and coefficient of mean deviation. Now, as we all know, range is the difference between the highest value and the lowest value. Now, we can get it in two ways, either as the difference between the upper limit of the highest class and the lower limit of the lowest class, or the difference between the midpoint of the highest class and the midpoint of the lowest class. Now from our example here, when we calculated the range, we know that the upper minus the lower, it means it will be 250 minus 160, which equals to 90. But when it comes to its coefficient, we take the largest minus the lowest, we divide by the largest plus the lowest, which we got 0.21. In this example 2, for the range, we took the highest limit of the highest class minus the lowest limit of the lower class, which equals to 50. The midpoint of the highest class minus the midpoint of the lowest class, which we got 40. Quartile deviation is the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. When it comes to average deviation is the average absolute difference between the individual data values and an average. We can get it mathematically using the formula which is seen in the screen. Now, the coefficient of average deviation we get by taking average deviation, then we divide it to the average. Now, the coefficient of the mean deviation, how do we get it? We take the mean deviation, we divide to mean of the n variables, which is represented as x bar. And lastly, standard deviation. And lastly, the standard deviation. This is the square root of the mean of the squared deviation from the arithmetic mean. Thank you and welcome back again.